What's up everyone, this is FP Sticks, and in today's video I'm going to be bringing you an Ultra Premier team featuring EMPOLEON, Gallade, and Venusaur. And I actually got the idea for this team comp during one of my coaching sessions that I had with one of my patrons, Yeej. I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but he was running this team of EMPOLEON, Gallade, and Venusaur, and I thought this was just very, very smartly designed. EMPOLEON is going to be weak to counter users and electric types. And Venusaur is the nice hard counter against that, against electric types. The grass typing gives you that nice resistance there, and the poison typing on Venusaur gives you good resistance against the counter users as well. And Gallade as the safe swap is still very, very strong. I know Gallade has been all the rage in previous seasons in Ultra Premier running as a safe swap. Well, it is still just as strong as a safe swap. Typically what's going to happen when you safe swap your Gallade, if there's a Charmer in the back, it's most likely going to come out there. And both EMPOLEON and Venusaur have really nice farm down potential against those Charmers. So let's get right into these battles here. As always, I'm going to make some mistakes, but I might make some good plays along the way as well. So let's see what happens here. EMPOLEON into Skarmory. This is very favorable for me, and that's obviously right where you want to see it. Okay. Do you all ever just sometimes go on these hot streaks where whatever team you're running with, it just seems like at that particular point in the night or the day, it's just working out very, very well? This team for me was, that was the case. For some reason, I kept running into people that were leading their XL Skarmories. And then they kept safe swapping Swampert. I think it happened like 2 or 3 times. And this was very kind of interesting to me. But this team obviously has very favorable alignment against that particular scenario. They safe swap the Swampert with the whole point of baiting out the Venusaur so their Skarmory can farm it down, which it makes sense. And then they had him a champ in the back, which Gallade is just an extremely hard counter to this. So honestly, not too much to learn from this matchup. I was able to make very fast reactive swaps based on what came in, but Gallade is like the absolute best response to a Machamp because you don't have to shield anything and you get to farm it all the way down and you leave this with so much energy. This team does have a double weakness to a Skarmory in the back. That's definitely tough, and you'll see a couple scenarios in this video where I kind of suspect that they might have a flyer in the back, so I will aggressively switch in my Gallade to bait that out. But that was obviously a very favorable team comp win. All right, this is not great. Obstagoon and Escavalier are the 2 counter users that are most difficult for this team to handle. So I'm just going to immediately swap into my Gallade here. I know this is also not a super great matchup, but if I land a close combat, I'm able to one-shot the Obstagoon. I'm going to shield this here and overfarm a little bit more, and now I'm going to throw the close combat and see what they want to do. I'm 1 confusion away. Boom, down goes the Obstagoon. They thought that I was baiting. And so that's a prime example there. Like, just go for the nuke and see what happens. Charizard is obviously going to come out and farm me down. But now I'm able to get my EMPOLEON aligned with this. This is looking pretty good for me. Blast Burn is really going to hurt, but I'm going to let it go through. And then I think I instant swap my Venusaur. Yep, because I knew that my opponent was going to switch out. So I blind swap. It's their own Venusaur in the back. I'm actually going to go for a Frenzy Plant bait here because both shields are up. And guess what? Should not have shield or should not have baited. So now at this point, my only hope is to try to bait again. I'm down in shield, so the only way that I can try to combat this deficiency here is with a slight like energy gain. I get an extra Vine Whip there as well, and my bait was successful, so looking decent for me. Gonna go for the Sludge Bomb now, but they like for sure shield this. Yeah. I swap into my EMPOLEON. I go for the combo play with the Drill Peck that I had saved. Venusaur still survives though. I need to be able to Vine Whip their Venusaur down and then get a move off on that Charizard. But they're very smart. They come out with the Charizard to not allow me to farm. I have to rip off this Frenzy Plant immediately. And then I'm going to be able to barely Vine Whip down their Venusaur. Insanely close game. And Obstagoon Lead is very tough for this, but I was able to come back. This is another very favorable team comp. Look at this. This is so wild. I don't know why this was like all the hype at when I was doing this at like midnight a couple nights ago, but So my opponent's throwing Hydro Cannon here because they want more farm with their Skarmory. I know exactly what they're doing, but I let that go through. I didn't want to get hit by a possible Sludge Wave and actually have to expend a shield, so I just let that go down. They're going to get a lot of farm with their Skarm, but that is fine. I'm just going to continue to rip off these Frenzy Plants. We saw Skarm in the lead. We saw a Swampert say swap, which is just kind of wild, because Swampert is so easily hard punished, especially if like you're not running Sludge Wave. Just gonna bring out the Empoleon, even if it's Brave Bird, it doesn't matter. And I just blind swap my Gallade because I know that the second that the Skarmory throws a Brave Bird, they're gonna get out of there. So I just blind swap with full confidence, and it was actually a Toxicroak in the back this time. There is nothing my opponent can do. I literally have all the counters perfectly aligned. This is the thing with this team. This is a very powerful team in terms of each Pokemon fulfilling a specific role. So if you do end up having positive alignment, you're able to maintain extremely positive alignment. And I think that's very important. Sometimes teams might not be as powerful in the back at maintaining a positive lead, but I think Gallade and Venusaur really have the potential to be a very hard counter in the matchups where they need to be. All right, the Empoleon mirror match I do not enjoy at all because I am always a little fearful that there might be a Charizard in the back, but in this instance I'm just going to take the shield advantage and get a nice farm down with Gallade. Gallade with an energy advantage, very, very powerful. If a Dragonite or some sort of a flyer comes out, this energy advantage is going to be very, very useful. It's a Charmer, so I'm going to get out of there. They're staying in, so at this point I'm wondering, is this Empoleon double charm? This team does very well against double charm, by the way. They let that go through. I think I shield this because I'm going to be able to farm down. Oh my gosh, there's a Swampert in the back. They led Empoleon and they had a Swampert in the back. So I would not have guessed that at all, but I got very fortunate that this was a Swampert in the back. And so this is very positive alignment. Venusaur is such a powerhouse in the back when it gets in that positive scenario. Okay. So here's the thing, people that lead Snorlax, if they're smart, they're going to go straight for the superpower because they get to it one turn before you're actually at the Hydro. So check this out. They're going to insta-swap right here. Luckily, I knew their move counts there, and so I knew that they were going to do that, so I did not blind throw a Hydro. Here's the problem. This team struggles against Kingdra for sure. Technically, Gallade and Venusaur are equally as good against this Kingdra. Really hoped that they were going to bait me here, but they did not. I needed to shield that. Really needed to shield that. They're not able to get to another move, which is good for me. Their Snorlax is very, very healthy, though. I'm just going to go for the close combat here because I feel like they're not going to shield, thinking that I'm going to bait. I was correct, but guess what? It was an Ampharos in the back, so it did not even matter. I did not expect this in the back, that is for sure. Oh, I think this is the Vergy team, right? Vergy is another content creator on YouTube and on Twitch, and I think this was the team that he was running. Unfortunately, I do get the confusion through here, but they have back-to-back. So I just let this go through because I knew that they were going to be able to get that move. So good game to my opponent. Definitely a tough team comp to hang with. All right, electric types in the lead. We have two responses to this. So I'm going to use the Gallade save swap and see what they want to do. They're going to throw a Thunder Punch. I technically do live this, but okay, I'm going to let it go through. They are still staying in, so I'm going to throw a Leaf Blade here and see what they want to do. If I get a shield here, fine by me. I do get a shield. And then they bring in their own Gallade, and I'm able to get this Leaf Blade off. This is really, really good. I'm going to be able to get my Empoleon squared away with their Gallade. They're definitely just going to go for the close combat, is what I'm thinking in my head. So I'm just going to commit one shield and try to commit to the farm down here. It was close combat. I'm going to have energy stored for the Ampharos. They bring in the Ampharos, and they don't throw for some reason. So I'm most likely going to switch into Venusaur here. They are still staying in, or their switch clock might not be quite up. They land the Focus Blast. Yeah, I think their switch clock wasn't up because they were so slow to swap into the Gallade. And so I was able to take advantage of this and get my Venusaur switch locked against this and able to come back from an Ampharos lead. The Gallade safe swap, very, very strong there because technically they did not have a response to Gallade. Their best response to Gallade was Empoleon, which is actually a decent response. All you got to do is double shield and you can win that matchup. But Gallade as the safe swap there was really, really powerful and allowed me to be in a pretty strong position there. Good game. Empoleon into Excadrill. Okay, technically Excadrill wins this in the 0 and the 1 shield, but my opponent insta-swaps against an opposing Gallade. You need to stay in here until they are in a range where you can Leaf Blade it with your own Gallade. My opponent actually goes for close combat immediately there, and so I'm assuming that they're just going to sack their Gallade. Yep. Out comes Toxicroak. There's no point in me staying in there, and I know that their switch clock is still not up, so I'm able to hard punish with the Gallade here. Recognition of the switch clock was pretty huge here. Down goes Toxicroak. I just go for the close combat here because I was assuming that they were just going to concede the match because they were in such an unfavorable position. But they did shield. It doesn't really matter though because I have Venusaur and Empoleon to be able to handle this thing. Able to get to this Hydro before my opponent gets to a Drill Run. Drill Run would obviously do a lot of damage. Just going to let this go, and Venusaur is going to be able to clean up with Frenzy. So technically if they would have stayed in that opening matchup, they would have won in the 0 and the 1 shield. I would have had a shield twice, but Excadrill, I did build one recently, but I cannot get that dang thing to work. It's so glassy. It's like it's the budget version of Galarian Stunfisk. Oh, guess what? All right, people that lead XL Umbreons typically have more XL Pokemon in the back. I'm sure you all have run into this scenario as well. So I'm already assuming that there's an XL Skarmory in the back, or there's an XL Galvantula in the back. Because I've run into this team comp. If you follow me on Twitter, you know that I've run into this team comp so many times. They're opting to stay in here. They let the close combat through. I'm just going to let this go. The fact that they stayed in now kind of gives me a little bit more confidence that maybe there's not a Skarmory in the back. But the whole point of me swapping Gallade there was to try to bait it out. But there is a Galvantula in the back. So I'm at least going to be able to get a shield here, and then I'm just going to insta-swap the Venusaur. They are switch-locked here. Lunge only hits for neutral. I'm going to let the first one go through to gauge how much damage it does, and I know that they can't Volt Switch me down. I'm going to throw this Sludge Bomb in the middle of their Volt Switch animation because I know that I lose CMP. They double shield. Oh my gosh. Their Umbreon is low. Unfortunately, this Sludge Bomb is not going to be enough to knock out this Galvantula because I've been double debuffed. Definitely not enough. It was a Skarmory in the back the entire time, so they were just toying with my emotions. Technically, they stayed in with their Umbreon against the Gallade because they wanted to align their Ampharos or their Galvantula with the Empoleon, so that does make sense. But man, I was very shocked to see that this Skarmory came out after I swapped the Gallade like that. I for sure thought that it was going to be able to come out, but they saved it in the back, and that made me very sad. This foul play is going to be just enough to KO. And then check this out. I farm down, but guess what? Galvantula wins CMP. Very, very close game. This team does struggle against those triple XL teams when they run Umbreon, Galvantula, and Skarm like that, though. Here it is again. When Galvantula is in the lead, at least I can safe swap the Gallade. But this is looking pretty gnarly. I do have back-to-back Leaf Blades stored, so if the Charm does not go through, never mind. I'm going to come out and get a nice hefty farm with Empoleon. This energy is going to be pretty solid against the Galvantula. It's very, very nice when you get a Charmer switch locked against Empoleon. They get a Volt switch through on entry. Very bad. Gonna swap into Venusaur here. Oh my, these XL Galvantulas are very, very annoying to deal with, but guess what? Boy, oh boy, do I have a video for you all, the next video after this one. I go on an insane run with a Pokemon in the back that breaks apart this Skarmory Galvantula core that is, in my opinion, very annoying to deal with because it's very, very strong. And not everyone has these XL Pokemon. Most people don't have these XL Pokemon, so they're very, very strong. Not in a great spot right here because I can't like waterfall this down, but I have to try. I have to hope that they Icy Wind me here, and they do. Out comes the Galvantula. Of course, it has loaded energy. At this point, I know that there's no win con for me, so just let it go. Good game to my opponent. Their XL Pokemon were very, very strong. Abomasnow in the lead is not that bad. If you get baited, it's not great. But if you can correctly shield up these energy balls, then it's pretty decent. The Powder Snow is hitting for double resisted. And the energy ball only hits for neutral. There's a shield. They consistently get to this energy ball like slightly before me, but I snuck in an extra waterfall there, which puts me in a slightly better position. Gonna throw this Drill Peck here, and then I think I will barely outpace them to this next move. They stay in, and because I got that extra waterfall, I'm gonna be able to get to this Drill Peck. Down goes the Abomasnow. And that was actually the game where I guess my opponent was very weak to Empoleon in the back. I forgot that was the final battle of the video, but thank you everyone so much for watching. I do think this team is strong, but every team obviously has its weaknesses. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you appreciate the content. We just recently hit 40,000 subscribers, which is very cool. If you've been watching the videos on the channel for a while and have not yet subscribed, but you've been lurking, maybe consider clicking that subscribe button as it does really help out. But I'll catch you all in the next video.